everyone, happy new year. I, for one, am very excited for 2023, mostly because it means we're getting even farther away from 2020. So as it is the new year, a lot of people will be setting fitness goals, particularly weight loss goals. So I wanted to give you guys a video where I cover 18 quick science-based tips to help you lose fat faster, but in a healthy and sustainable way and without cutting anything out. Because weight loss does not have to equal restriction and frustration and feeling like you are depriving yourself. There are a lot of things that you can just actively add into your life that will help with fat loss. And I want you to be able to do it right so that you don't have to keep setting the same New Year's resolution over and over and over and over. Like, if your resolution is to lose weight in 2023, I recommend also making your resolution to not have to think about your weight by 2024. Because it's really not fun to come up on the new year and yet again set your goal for weight loss when it's been that same goal every year and you haven't achieved it. I've been there. A lot of people have been there. So give this video a thumbs up if you're ready to dive straight into these tips, and let me know down in the comments what your favorite part of 2022 was and what you're most looking forward to in 2023. So tip number one is a little bit counterintuitive, and that is to take your time. And I know I said these tips were to help you lose fat faster, but just hear me out. When you lose fat too fast, you usually end up regaining the fat just as fast, if not faster. So you end up not actually making any progress even though you're losing fat fast. There's no point in losing 10 pounds in a month if the next month you're just gonna gain it all back. Then you're at net zero. So it's technically faster to take an entire year to lose weight than it is to lose all the weight in a month, regain it back, lose all the weight in a month, gain it all back, and yo-yo back and forth for 5 years and not make any progress. Like, yes, when you lose the fat, it comes off quickly, but your net progress is zero. So I recommend taking the time to maybe first do a reverse diet to speed up your metabolism so that you can start your fat loss journey from a very metabolically healthy place, or take the time to optimize your health so that as you do lose fat, it's more sustainable. Or even just take the time to take diet breaks. Like, you might not lose fat as fast in the short term, but in the long term, you're gonna get to your end goal and be able to stay there a lot faster. Speaking of reverse dieting, tip number 2 is to reverse diet first. Reverse dieting is essentially a protocol that speeds up your metabolism so that you can eat more without gaining any extra fat. The faster your metabolism is, the faster and more efficiently you can lose fat, and the easier it will be to keep it off. It's a lot easier to lose fat when you can maintain weight on 2,500 calories instead of like 1,200 calories. Reverse dieting is how you get your metabolism that much faster. This also means you'll be able to cut on higher calories so you won't feel as restricted in a calorie deficit. And this means that when you're in a calorie deficit, more of the weight loss will come from fat as opposed to muscle. So it'll actually help a lot with body composition as you lose weight. So if any of you are interested in reverse dieting and want my personal help going through a reverse diet, I actually just opened registration for my full course on reverse dieting called Reverse Dieting 101. I'll leave a link to that down in the description box below, or you can go to reversedieting101.com. Registration is open until January 10th. So as of this video coming out, you have like a little bit less than a week to register. I talked more about the course and what's included a couple videos ago, so I will leave a link to that down in the description box below too if you want to learn more about it, but highly recommend checking it out. Get on that because spots are limited and you have less than a week to register, and then I won't be offering the course again for quite some time. So if you've been thinking about reverse dieting to speed up your metabolism, now is your chance. Tip number 3 is to use mini cut cycles or diet breaks. And this is a strategy where every 2 to 6, maybe 8 weeks, you spend 1 to 2 weeks eating at your maintenance calories. Here's the thing, your body is an adaptation machine. If you don't take diet breaks, your body is going to slowly adapt to the deficit you're in, and so your deficit is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, even if you're eating the same amount, and thus your deficit is going to become less effective over time, leading to a plateau. But if you add in diet breaks, this keeps your metabolism revved up so that when you are in a deficit, your deficit is equally as effective and efficient. So you will lose weight faster in your deficit if you're taking diet breaks. Tip number 4 is to track your macros. Firstly, because awareness of your food intake is the first step to being able to change your food intake in a positive way, whether that be for fat loss, for health, etc. When you're tracking your food, it just brings a lot more awareness and intention to your food decisions. Many studies have found a correlation between weight loss and monitoring food intake as well as exercise. Tracking also gives you precision when you are intentionally putting yourself in a calorie deficit. It's a lot harder to eat in a calorie deficit when you're not tracking your calories because little things add up. Humans are notoriously really bad at estimating their own caloric intake. So if you are deciding to intentionally put yourself in a calorie deficit, then tracking is just gonna make this a lot more efficient and precise. That said, you absolutely do not have to track macros to lose weight, especially if it is triggering for you. I don't recommend it if you don't have a healthy relationship with food, but if you can track macros, it will make things more efficient. Number 5 is a big one. Add in resistance training. Muscle is like a calorie burning furnace. It's a lot more energy expensive tissue than fat. So the more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you're gonna burn at rest and also while being active. It costs the body a lot of calories to build new tissue, particularly muscle tissue. And it costs the body a lot of calories just to maintain that muscle tissue. So basically, the more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you're going to burn, the faster your metabolism is gonna be. Resistance training while in a calorie deficit is absolutely key because it is going to help your body preserve muscle. And this is gonna help in 2 ways. One is keeping your metabolism higher, and 2, helping your body decrease body fat percentage rather than just total body weight, because you wanna be losing fat, not muscle, to get leaner. If you've ever lost weight and been like happy with the number on the scale, but realized that you kind of look the same, it's probably because you lost a lot of muscle along with the fat. So your body fat percentage may have stayed the same or even gotten higher. One study demonstrated that 5 months of resistance training in adolescents with obesity was much more effective at reducing body fat than aerobic exercise alone. And one review demonstrated that resistance training boosted people's resting metabolic rate significantly compared to a control group, while aerobic exercise itself did not. So this means that adding in resistance training is key to lose fat faster and more efficiently and keep it off. Tip number 6 is to add steps. If you're not hitting 10,000 steps a day, aim for that, or you could aim for like 3 15-minute walks throughout the day. And the purpose of this is not really to burn calories, though it does burn some calories, but a sedentary lifestyle can not only contribute to weight gain, but it's also been shown to contribute to health problems. And the thing is, the healthier you are, the easier it's going to be to lose fat. Also, adding in walking tends to be a lot more sustainable for most people than doing traditional cardio like running an hour on the treadmill. And this inherently just makes this a lot more sustainable than trying to lose fat by hopping on the treadmill for an hour, because once you stop doing that, you're likely to regain the weight. But with steps, with being more active throughout the day and incorporating that into your lifestyle, that tends to stick around a lot longer. Tip number 7 is to aim to eat 2 cups of vegetables per day. This alone is just gonna support good quality nutrition and help reduce calorie intake without even tracking. Vegetables are full of nutrients, which is just great for your body, but they're also full of fiber. They take up a lot of space in your stomach, and this is naturally gonna promote more satiety, and it's going to take up space from more hyperpalatable processed foods that tend to be more calorie dense. Focusing on adding in a ton of veggies tends to be a lot easier than restricting other food groups, and when you're eating more vegetables, you don't have as much space for the other food groups that you would otherwise be like actively trying to restrict but feeling guilty when you end up eating them a little bit. So like, just if you focus on adding, things go a lot better. The next tip is to add more protein. I recommend aiming for 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight, not total body weight. Adequate protein while in a calorie deficit is critical for maintaining muscle mass, which, as we've addressed, is really important for maintaining a higher metabolic rate and reducing body fat percentage. One study compared the effects of low protein intake to high protein intake on lean body mass over a short-term caloric deficit. On average, the low protein group lost about 3.5 pounds of muscle mass, while the high protein group only lost 0.66 pounds of muscle mass. And lastly, protein intake really helps with satiety while in a calorie deficit because protein is the most satiating of all the macronutrients. Tip number 9, while you are focusing on protein, is that I recommend eating protein with every meal. This is going to make every meal a lot more satiating than if you didn't have a protein source. It's also going to help make your meals more balanced, which is going to balance your blood sugar, prevent blood sugar spikes and crashes. The crashes usually result in cravings, which drive you to overeat. And also, if you're focusing on protein in every meal, it just makes it a lot easier to accomplish tip number 8 and get in enough total protein. My next tip is to eat 1 to 2 servings of probiotic-rich foods per day. Your gut health helps regulate your metabolism, your nutrient absorption, and your weight. There are multiple mouse studies that show us when you take the microbiome of an obese individual and the microbiome of a fit individual and you put them into twin mice, the mouse that got the microbiome from the obese individual will gradually become obese, while the other twin mouse will stay at a healthy body weight. So anything that you can do to support your gut health is going to support fat loss. One review showed that people who regularly consume probiotics and were trying to lose weight saw much bigger reductions in body weight, BMI, and body fat percentage. Tip number 11 is stay hydrated. I recommend aiming for roughly half your body weight in pounds in ounces per day. So for simple math, if you're 100 pounds, drink 50 ounces of water. I see a lot of people using this tip as a way to basically starve themselves by drinking instead of eating. That is not why I'm recommending this. Please do not replace food with water. You actually need to be adequately hydrated in order for your body to efficiently go through the metabolic process that burns fat, which is called lipolysis. And studies show that dehydration decreases the efficiency of lipolysis. Also, adequate hydration promotes better exercise performance and better recovery. So you're going to be able to build more muscle, lose more fat in the gym, and recover better when you're more hydrated. And when muscle cells are dehydrated, they're a lot more likely to be broken down. So the better hydrated you are, the less likely you are to lose muscle. My next tip is to add a moment before you start eating, like a mindfulness moment, an awareness moment. Just take a pause before you start eating. Bringing mindfulness and awareness to your eating habits is a great way to slowly start shifting them in a more positive way without having to count calories or actively restrict. It's so easy to just get a craving, reach for the food, and start eating, but when you take a moment to just pause and breathe and think about what you're going to eat, it allows you to make much more intentional decisions when it comes to what you're putting in your body. Tip number 13 is to set your intention every morning. When you start your day thinking about your goals, you're able to kind of refocus your mind around your goals throughout the day. For those of you who've heard of the 75 Hard Challenge, this is one of the main reasons he recommends taking a progress picture every single morning, is it just forces you to think about your goals. And when you can have your goals at the forefront of your mind every day, it makes it a lot easier to make decisions that align with your goals throughout the day. Tip number 14 is to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, ideally closer to 8 or more if your body needs it. Several studies associate sufficient sleep with weight loss, and there are also a lot of studies to show us that insufficient sleep or lower quality sleep is associated with a slower metabolism. A small study showed that getting just 1 less hour of sleep per night led to less fat loss in people following a low-calorie diet compared with a control group. And numerous studies have shown that getting less than 5 to 6 hours of sleep per night is associated with increased incidence of obesity. Tip number 15 is add in some meditation or your favorite stress reducing practice. When you're stressed, your body releases various hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which in the very short term can actually suppress appetite. But if you are stressed for a long period of time and cortisol is just staying in your bloodstream, this can actually lead to an increase in appetite. Researchers have found that implementing an 8-week stress management intervention program resulted in significant reduction in the BMI of children and adolescents who were overweight or had obesity. Tip number 16 is to prioritize your health. The healthier you are, the easier it is to lose fat. If your body is trying to heal you from health issues and you are also putting it in a calorie deficit, your body's gonna be like, yo, like hold up. We're trying to put our energy into healing this thing, and now you're taking away more energy, and it's gonna be like, no. We're gonna keep all the energy we can stored as fat so that we can heal this other thing. So this goes back to tip number 1, which is take your time. If you do have health issues, hormone imbalances, autoimmune dysregulation, like anything, I recommend focusing on that, getting that as in control as you can before actively pursuing fat loss. And chances are, the healthier you get, the more naturally fat is just going to come off of your body. I see this happen all the time as my clients who I help regulate their hormones or heal from their autoimmunity, like they just start naturally losing weight as they get healthier. My next tip is to build a sustainable routine. The more sustainable your weight loss routine, the faster you will get to your goals because you won't be falling off track as often. When you use a super unsustainable routine, yes, you might lose fat a lot faster, but as I said before, you're likely to regain it just as fast, and then again, you're making no progress. While working out 5 days a week might be the most efficient way for you to get to your goals. If that's unsustainable for you and every time you try to do that, you abandon ship after a week and a half because you just can't keep up with the routine and you never make any progress because of that, then it's actually going to be a lot faster and a lot more efficient for you to maybe work out 2 or 3 times a week if you can sustain that and actually stick with it, because then you'll be able to make continuous progress and actually move towards your goals. And tip number 18 is to follow a plan and trust the process. Not trusting the process is what gets in most people's way. And it's a lot easier to trust a process when you actually have a plan that lays out a process, instead of picking one thing and trying it for like a couple days or even a couple weeks, and maybe you don't see super fast results, so you switch to a different thing and try that for a couple days or a couple weeks and don't see results, so you switch. And every time you keep switching, you're starting over. Where if you just stuck to something and let it run its course, you'd probably actually begin to see progress. If you're doing things right and in a healthy, sustainable way, which yes, does take a little more time, you may not see any results for the first 6 weeks. That's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means you need to give it more time to work. Can you not lick yourself in the background of my video? Best case scenario would actually be hire a coach to work through something with you, because then you can just give them all the responsibility of creating the process and you can just put all your trust in them and not worry about whether or not you're actually doing things correctly, as long as you're following what they're saying. But if that is not affordable or feasible, just finding a solid plan from someone who is trustworthy and reputable and sticking with it is your best bet. Speaking of following a plan and coaching, this is what I think one of the biggest benefits of signing up for my course that is now available to sign up for. Reverse Dieting 101 is really helpful is with a reverse diet, it can be really scary because you're increasing calories incrementally. And for a lot of people, increasing calories is a very scary thing because it oftentimes leads to weight gain. If you're reverse dieting properly, it shouldn't lead to very much weight gain and very minimal fat gain, if at all, if not losing fat. But because it's so scary, it can be really hard to stick with it if you're just doing it by yourself and if you don't have all of the available information so that you can understand what's happening and trust the process. And this is where I see a lot of people go wrong with the reverse diets, is they either don't have all the information or they don't trust the process and they end up messing up or just giving up 2 or 3 weeks in because they get scared. But if you know that your metabolism is maybe not functioning as well as you'd like it to, if you have been trying to diet forever and are not making any progress because you've just been in a calorie deficit and it has slowed down your metabolism, then I highly recommend looking into reverse dieting and considering signing up for Reverse Dieting 101. In the course, I will walk you through step by step everything you need to know to execute your reverse diet properly, and also tailor it to your body, your starting metabolism. Like, all of it is created so that it can be very specific to you. I do not want to create a generalized program, just be like, everyone start at 1500 calories and then do XYZ and follow this exact plan. Like, no, like, it's all built around what you want to accomplish for your body, your history, like where you're starting from and where you want to end up. And then on top of that, with the group coaching component, if somehow the course doesn't actually answer all of your questions, if you have a specific question about like your journey, yourself, etc., or like any general questions, you can ask in the Facebook group and I am in there answering your questions, helping guide you through a reverse diet. And then you also have the support of all of the other people going through reverse diet, which I think was really helpful for the last class, because again, this can be scary for a lot of people. And so being able to share your thoughts and your feelings and your fears and your successes with a whole group of people that's going through the same thing, I think is extremely helpful in being able to trust the process, being able to commit to the process, and finding joy in the process as well. So again, if you're interested, you can go to reversedieting101.com to register for the class that starts on January 9th. Registration closes on January 10th, and this may be the last time I'm personally coaching the course. So if you want my personal help through a reverse diet, this may be your last time to get access to that. Just throwing that out there in case you care. So check it out. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever about the course. You can leave a comment, you can email me, reach out to me in one of the many ways that I have available to reach out to me. And if you have any more healthy, sustainable fat loss tips that you want to contribute to this video, leave those down in the comments as well. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does support me and my channel. I really genuinely appreciate it. Please share this video with your friends, your family, and your gym buddies. If you want to see more content from me all about health and fitness, you can check them out over here to see future videos. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I post a video, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!